can't imagine they vote for it because we did nothing wrong. There was absolutely nothing done wrong. They've analyzed my conversation every way you can. And when you talk about, the word favor was mentioned, and it was mentioned not me a favor. You just saw the way it was. And it was nothing to do with me. This has to do with the United States. The word was us. Can you do us a favor? Then we talk about the country, and we talk about seeing the Attorney General of the United States. When you look at it, and that was just a part of it. It was a congratulatory call, and there were two of them. Nobody even mentions the other one. We had another one where they won originally. He won the election. And I think it's a disgrace that people can make impeachment out of nothing. That was a perfect conversation.
An impeachment out of nothing, my friends. That's what's going on. I don't want to spend too much more time on impeachment today. I just wanted to note the president understands what this is, and also really interesting comment here flagged by a left-wing journalist named Michael Tracy. He wrote that Jeffrey Toobin made an interesting point just now on CNN. Quote, "It doesn't matter what the actual articles of impeachment are. No one will remember. It just matters that Trump is impeached." Yep, that's all this is. Impeach him to impeach him. Orange man bad. That is the impeachment. That's all it is. Trump bad. They have nothing beyond that. And this is laughable. By the way, I was very pleased. There was all this legal analysis of that I saw after the fact when I came and told you guys yesterday how absurd it was to say that he was obstructing Congress by going to the courts. A lot of prominent national lawyers were like, "Yep, that's you can't do that. You can't say you're not allowed to go to court. That's obstruction." Sorry. That's what the Democrats are doing. It's preposterous. But that is where it is. All right. Now I wanted to move on to something else. Oh, wait, no. Michael Bloomberg. Michael Bloomberg still out there. He's still getting more votes, still getting more people to come to his side. How's my Bloomberg coming along? What do you think? It's getting there, right?
It's a bit Morty Goldman from Family Guy.
I don't know that one, but I think Bloomberg sounds he's like a little bit down here because he's about 5'2". He's worth $50 billion, and he doesn't like big sodas, maybe because they make him feel shorter. But here's what he said about his version or his view of impeachment. Play 8.
I think it is very sad for this country that I can say the following, but unfortunately the evidence seems to be serious enough that I would, if I was in the Senate or in the House, I would vote for impeachment. But I don't think we should do this lightly. I think it's a great danger. You influence the political process. Fundamentally, I think the electorate should decide who they're led by, and they have an opportunity to throw them out every 4 years.
Wow. That sounds almost at the end somewhat reasonable. Like, how about we just have an election? What could be more obvious at this point than that? And yet, here we are. Here is what we are being told. I am really trying to find this poll that you got to see it. Oh, here we go. I found it. I love this one. This is amazing. So, one of my consistent themes, stretching back here to the many years of the Buck Sexton Show, one of my themes has been that Democrats like the worship of politicians, and people say that Trump has a cult around him. I don't think that that's true. Although I do think that Trump is a very charismatic figure, and a lot of people do support him in a way that is exceeds what you usually see for support of a Republican politician. But Democrats tend to deeply invest themselves in their leaders. They deeply invest themselves in the people that they put in elected office. And Obama was a whole level beyond what, because to support Obama was more than anything else a way of telling everybody about who you were as a supporter of him. And if you're of a liberal mindset, if you support Obama, you are a good person. You're not a racist person. You want a better America. You want a multicultural, diverse America. You want socialism, whatever. All these, you want to help people. You want to be a good liberal. So you support Obama. And not just support him, you worship him. I mean, you think that Obama is beyond any real criticism or any real accountability. And I would also note, and I'm not trying to take this back to the conversation that we've been having on the show today about all the things going on in the realm of the Inspector General report, but notice how all this happened while Obama was president. Very little talk about that, right? Somehow it's never connected. They never make the connection to Obama. These people worked for Obama. He's the commander-in-chief. He's the head of the executive branch, but I don't think that's an accident. But this was a Monmouth University poll that just came out yesterday, and I love this. This is great. Tells you a lot. Who was a better president? Very straightforward question. Who was a better president? Among Republicans, 37% said Donald Trump. 44% said George Washington. So, a lot of Republicans think that Trump is better than Washington, but most Republicans do in fact think that the first president, who was also commander-in-chief of the military, defeated the British, et cetera, the first president gets the nod as a better president in the grand scheme of things than Trump 3 years in. Trump 8 years in, maybe a different conversation. But for now, most Republicans, I think, are making that judgment call, and that's fine. But this was amazing. Among Democrats, 29% think that George Washington is better than Barack Obama. 63% of Democrats think Barack Obama was a better president than George Washington. Now, can I just, based on what? I just want to, based on what thing? What was the transformational moment in American politics? Obama getting elected? Is that really, by being elected, he was a better president than George Washington? Is that really what we're? Whew. Didn't win any wars, didn't preside over some booming economy, no great foreign policy statecraft. I mean, what exactly is kind of started the socialist revolution that we're in the midst of in this country? I mean, maybe, I guess that's why the Democrats like him so much, but 63% think he's better than George Washington. That's a solid majority. And I think that if you ask Democrats, is Barack Obama the greatest president of all time, you'd have a huge number of them would say yes, which is just amazing. But you know who's probably not going to be the Democrats' all-time favorite president no matter what? Joe Biden, because he's not going to be president. That's the main thing. I think that would probably slow him down for that purpose. I also would note that there is, speaking of slowing down, it's a smooth transition. He's a smooth operator. That was not in tune, but it was a song lyric, and I thought I needed to throw it in there. Biden has signaled to aides that he would serve only a single term, according to Politico today, which is another way of saying, guys, I know I'm too old and I don't have it in me, but we can't let Trump win, so vote for me, and then I'll pass the baton to somebody else who can actually get this done. Now, he won't, they say. I mean, the guy's 77 years old, folks. I mean, he would be solidly into his 80s at the end of his first term. I mean, is that anybody allowed to think that maybe it's a little bit old to be I'm not saying it's too old to, write books, travel with family, do cool things. Of course, right? I mean, I'm not saying people are as young as they feel. But if you're going to have the nuclear codes, I do think that people are allowed to ask questions about whether or not you are in optimal health and can handle the rigors of that job from just a physical and psychological perspective because of your age. Biden, well, his advisors are saying that he's thinking about, he has not yet done this, thinking about a one-term pledge in order to get this done. He's thinking about signing a one-term pledge. And the idea, I suppose, would be that Biden would then pick a favorite of the establishment and a younger, considerably. So it's not going to be Bernie Sanders. Is it going to be Elizabeth Warren? No, I think he'd like it to be Kamala Harris, probably, if I had to pick. But Kamala Harris's campaign was such a non-starter that maybe that will look a little too a little too much like the elites don't care what the people who vote for them actually think about who should be in charge. So here's what Politico wrote about this. While the option of making a public pledge remains available, Biden has, for now, settled on an alternative strategy, quietly indicating he will almost certainly not run for a second term, while declining to make a promise that he and his advisors fear could turn him into a lame duck and sap him of his political capital. According to 4 people who regularly talk to Biden, all of whom asked for anonymity to discuss internal campaign matters, it is virtually inconceivable that he will run for re-election in 2024 when he would be the first octogenarian president. He's going to be 82 years old in 4 years, and he won't be running for re-election. Biden's trying to he's got to change things up. He knows that he's a weak front runner. I know that his support has been durable, but he knows he's a weak front runner, and that support would shift over in a moment if things all of a sudden, if there was just a change in the narrative. So that Biden's not, and I feel very confident in my prediction to you that Biden is not going to be the guy. I still think that that is the case. I still believe that there'll be, but then who? But then who? Here we are. I read about politics all day long. I speak to people in D.C., New York, across the country, trying to just pull sources and see, who knows what about what campaign. Nobody knows who the Democrat winner of the primary is going to be. I mean, I say nobody knows. Nobody even feels confident. They don't even have a pick that they'll say, yeah, I really believe that this is going to be the one. Which means that you're still going to have you still have these outlier situations. And people say Michelle Obama, but I'm still, hello, she's still there, folks. She's just waiting. She's doing a little bit of yoga, wandering the woods of Chappaqua, drinking some rosé. Just waiting for the opportunity to present herself again as your next president of the United States.
Countries are finding clever ways around having to take real action, like double counting emissions reductions and moving their emissions overseas, and walking back on their promises to increase ambition, or refusing to pay for solutions or loss and damage. This has to stop. What we need is real, drastic emission cuts at the source.
Greta Thunberg, everybody. Greta Thunberg. Time Magazine's Person of the Year. Who needs the massive protests in favor of freedom and individual rights and human dignity and liberty in Hong Kong? Who needs any of that to be highlighted by a magazine that at least has name recognition, if not readership? It doesn't have readership. No. Forget about Hong Kong. I mean, look, forget about Trump or the whistleblower or all these other names that were out there as possible Time Magazine Person of the Year. Greta Thunberg is Time Magazine's Person of the Year. I mean, as she was sitting there talking about the complicated policy decisions that are currently being made by countries all over the world around climate change, you do have to ask yourself, hold on a second. So she's not doing this research. She doesn't know anything about any of this stuff, right? Doesn't understand government. She's 16